The current President of the United States and the rest of his administration seem to be doing everything possible to vilify us, to put us in danger, to wipe out our existence. It feels like every day we get more bad news, from being forced into using the wrong gender marker on our passports, to having our contributions to history erased from government websites, to bathroom bans, to Republican lawmakers trying to criminalize our very existence. Sports bans, hospitals and other healthcare professionals complying in advance to unlawful executive orders. And perhaps cruelest and most dangerous of all, forcing transgender prisoners to transfer to prisons that match their assigned birth genders, a death sentence for some. Then we have Democrats like Gavin Newsom using his amplified voice to throw our already marginalized, endangered community under the bus. For what? A possible presidential campaign in 2028? What's next, Gavin? Why don't you go after school lunch programs and Meals on Wheels? We all matter, or none of us matter. We're still here, and we do have allies.
Trans girls are girls. And for all the folks that are so concerned, thank you for your concern about women for the first time that I've seen. I don't know about y'all, I don't know who's been to gym class lately, but girls, even if you only believe in two genders, I've played co-ed sports all the time.
While it's an unfortunate fact that a lot of us lose family and friends when we come out, there are still good people in the world ready to fill that void. Chosen family. I've made several new friends since coming out who not only have made me feel safe, they made me feel loved. There are also people out there we'll never get the chance to meet who have our backs. Yes, it's dark right now, and I feel the same despair that so many of you do, but we cannot give up. Trans people have always existed, and we always will. It's okay to pause when you need to. I had a few days where I got up, got dressed, had my first caffeinated beverage of the day, and then crawled right back into bed for a few hours. That's okay in the short term, but it isn't sustainable behavior. As tempting as it may be for us to isolate ourselves, it's better and healthier when we seek out other like-minded people. For example, it was International Women's Day recently, and I was tempted to stay home. Instead, I got dressed, made a protest sign, and joined several hundred kind souls in a public display of solidarity. I met more than a few new allies there. We are living our truth and best life despite the real physical dangers from those that would harm us. Despite the loss of family and friends. Despite the knowledge that many of us will never pass. Despite knowing that this current administration is trying to first criminalize and then ultimately erase our existence. We're in for a long few years, but we're some of the strongest, bravest, toughest people around. And thanks to those who love us and other allies, we are not alone. So how do we survive the next 4 years? The first thing that comes to mind is an old expression: prepare for the worst and hope for the best. It's tempting to disengage from the news and other media, but we have to stay informed. Even if that means we only check out 1 or 2 sources for 15 minutes or a half hour each day. Things are happening fast, and our safety depends on having the latest information. One of the sources I trust the most is a journalist named Erin. Erin is transgender herself and has a Substack called Erin in the Morning, where she keeps us up to date, sometimes up to the minute, on the executive orders and laws that are being proposed that affect our community. She also reports on the victories, so it isn't all bad news. I'll link her in the description box below. Speaking of victory, I'm wearing this particular shade of lipstick for a reason. Victory red lipstick became popular during the Second World War as an anti-fascist symbol. Hitler hated red lipstick, and it not only became mandatory for American women in the military, it was popular in resistance movements the world over. Back to being prepared. I moved into a new place recently and woke up in a panic one morning because I didn't know where my passport was. I immediately got out of bed and went through my filing cabinet, my desk, and a few boxes until I located my passport, my birth certificate, and social security card. I know where they are now. I've also packed a go bag in case I have to leave at a moment's notice, and I'm putting cash aside for an emergency fund. Finally, I've given a set of spare house keys to a trusted close friend. Just as important as staying informed and prepared is staying healthy. In order to stay calm, healthy, and somewhat sane in my everyday life, I'm doing a few things that help me survive this madness. First, I start my mornings with a few minutes of light yoga, followed by meditation. I'm new to practicing yoga, but I've already experienced almost immediate benefits. I've had chronic back pain since my time in the Navy, and by making yoga a part of my morning routine, the back pain has all but disappeared. After my yoga session, I meditate for 10 minutes. On some mornings, meditation seems to fly by, and on others it's almost as if time is standing still. No matter what kind of experience I have, it always helps me to face the day. Exercise is another way I take care of myself. In my case, that usually means a long walk. I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by stunning natural beauty, but sometimes a walk in the neighborhood does as much good as a hike in the mountains or a walk around the lake. Another way I take care of myself is by reaching out to loved ones. Friends and family are important to all of us, even introverts. Knowing that someone loves you and will fight for your right to happiness is a powerful thing. I've been humbled these past few weeks especially by the number of people in my life who have reached out to check on me. I have a few friends who remind me on a pretty regular basis that they're not only willing but ready to fight for me and keep me safe. One friend in particular has been an absolute angel. She makes it a point to keep herself informed and to check on me several times a week. No matter how often I tell her, I don't know if she will ever truly understand just how powerful her friendship has been for me. Another way I practice self-care is to find a little joy every day. Joy is important. It reminds us that life is worth living, no matter how tough it gets sometimes. I mentioned that I moved recently. I'm enjoying decorating my new place, even with the knowledge that I may need to abandon it and most of my possessions in the middle of the night. Unfortunately, I'm being quite serious about that. I'm also mindful that I need to eat healthy and drink plenty of water. I'll be the first to admit that I put on a few pounds stress eating junk food right after the election. Not only did I start to feel bad physically, my poor diet also began to negatively affect my already fragile state of mind. For me, eating healthy starts with drinking enough water every day. As for my diet, I try to avoid eating out, opting to make healthy meals from whole ingredients. There are countless meal plans out there, but I'd like to mention that the Mediterranean diet has been approved by doctors and nutritionists the world over for many, many years now. The last important thing that I do to keep myself healthy both mentally and physically is to make sure I get enough sleep. I used to believe that I did just fine on 6 hours, but recently I realized that I do need 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night. It does wonders for my mental and physical health. The routine that's working for me includes no caffeine after 4 p.m., a regular bedtime, and no electronics an hour before that bedtime. That last hour before lights out is reserved for reading with one important note. Reading for pleasure can lead to restful sleep. Reading the news will keep you up all night. Read for pleasure. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your self-care routines, your concerns about the next 4 years, or even just a quick hello. We are in this together, and we will get through this together. It may not feel like it sometimes, but you are loved and you are needed. Do what you can to protect your peace. Until next time, be safe, be strong, and be well.